This video is about painting. I don't promise excitement, but I do promise that stuff will be painted and end up the same colour that it is now. From the factory, the drill press was coated in self-levelling filler. You can see the underlying casting is really rough. The filler that they used was thick and soft setting. I'm going to remove the whole lot and start from fresh. My weapon of choice is a wire wheel, the type used on an angle grinder. I figured it was about time I splashed out on a new one. These are far too aggressive to use on sheet metals, but nothing beats them for removing crud from heavy cast objects. The top cover is made from thick enough base metal that I think I could have got away with using a wire brush on it as well, but I decided to use paint stripper instead. This is an adapter plate that goes between the motor mount on the body of the drill press and the motor. It's a little rough around the edges, so I decided to match it more closely to the shape of the motor base plate. Apparently this piece is pretty hot. Oh well, looks like the power cord on the angle grinder just got a wee bit shorter. This is an interesting feature. The base and the column support must have been assembled prior to painting. These are through holes. The bolts come up from the underside, and they obviously filled over the end of the holes afterwards. I'm not going to do it that way. I quickly capped the end of the bolt holes with flat steel discs. I used the leather face of a hammer to cut the edges of the tape. This leaves the cleanest line on sharp edges. It's much faster than cutting with a knife though, so I can tolerate a little fuzziness on the less acute lines. The first layer of paint will be an etch primer. I don't like to apply filler directly to metal. This etch primer will adhere to the cast iron and cover any remnants of old paints, providing a hard, clean base. Before moving on to the filler stage, there is some sheet metal work that I want to take care of on the top cover. Firstly, it has this skirt thing welded on. It actually clashes with the motor. I guess the manufacturer had to stick these on to get around some rule to prevent people sticking their fingers into a running pulley system. Secondly, the cover has been extended. I want to measure this up properly to see if we can unextend it, but first I'll get rid of the ugly skirt. So this is the section that has been welded in. I can't imagine that whoever owned this drill press would go to that much effort to modify and then disguise the modification on their drill press, so it was presumably done at the manufacturing stage. Interesting. After a few trial fits, I decided that it definitely wasn't worthwhile cutting the cover in half, just to make it look a little less alien head. Next it's on to the dreaded filling stage. This is the lead into hours upon hours of sanding and paint prep. You can see how rough the underlying castings are. Of course, I could just slap on a coat of enamel paint and call it job done, but, you know, I'm all about the bog. I must admit, I've never created sculptures quite like this before. I couldn't get all of the name tag hammer drive screws out. Miserable things. So I'm going to re-drill all of the holes slightly offset from the originals. None of the drill sizes I had quite fit, either metric or imperial. So I found a drill size chart for these screws on the internet. They are size some damn letter. Number and letter sizes? Seriously? My metric brain can't fathom the logic. So I used the nearest undersized drill bit I had. If necessary, I can order the exact size drill bit later on. I filled a few of the nastier holes with epoxy first, and then moved on to bog.